What's going on, YouTube? Chris here. I want to bring you all an update today of Bitcoin, Ethereum, Link, Tezos, Digibyte, and Litecoin. Those are 6 we're going to be able to get into today. And what I want to do is look at Bitcoin and these altcoins on the 1 week time frame. So all this is going to be based off the 1 week time frame. And I had a few different things that I wanted to point out here. So we're going to start in on Bitcoin. And what I want to examine was the uptrend that we're currently dealing with right now. As you can see, we've had our trend line break in purple, and that's very significant. As you know, I'm a big trend line trader. I really look at trend line breaks. I look at Fibonacci levels. I look at moving averages. I look at price action. Those are the things that I really like to pay attention to. But what we did, we had a nice strong break out of this trend line, this downtrend, and this was a macro downtrend that we were dealing with all the way from $20,000. So we broke out of that, and it came on heavier volume. Typically what we've talked about before is once you get that break, you'll actually back test the area that you've broken out to before you get moving again. And this still looks healthy to me. This is what we want to see, the higher highs and higher lows. So if this can be our higher low here, and we found that support off 9,816, we'll call it $10,000 with these little tweezer bottoms right down here, then we potentially could get this moving. And the next target we would target up here on the 1 week time frame would be $12,249. That was our previous top right up in this area. That'd be important for us. And what you can see we were putting in here was basically a Harami pattern, and we're getting confirmation. If we could get a nice close where we're at today, that would be significant for Bitcoin, and that may be enough to start pushing us up to that 12,249. Now, one thing I want you to be careful of, I trade a lot in the stock market as well. And with the elections, everything coming up, the stock market is going to be getting very volatile, and it's also been weakening a little bit. So we have to pay attention to that because Bitcoin's been correlating a lot with the stock market. So we do have to keep that in the back of our mind as we're making these trades, and that's why I always like to use stop losses. But this is a nice sign for Bitcoin that we are finding that support area so we can potentially go up there and make that higher high. Another thing I wanted to point out is we have cooled down from the point that we got up to around $12,700, $12,600. We have cooled this RSI down, so we potentially could get a nice move to the upside and not be in those overbought conditions. Now, typically, when we really make strong moves to the upside on the weekly time frame, the RSI can get up to about 80 all the way up to 90. And right now we're sitting at 59.44. So we have over 30% potentially, about that 30% on the RSI, and that would be enough to get us up over top and potentially go up and test around $14,000 in my opinion. If this trend wants to keep moving the way that it's moving, we have the area and we have the room to get moving. So we're basically not putting in this bullish Harami pattern, finding support off this $10,000 when the RSI is up at 80 right now. And that's a good thing for us because last time when we got up here and we had this doji candle, the RSI got up into the 70s on the 1 week time frame. And a lot of people, once you get to those 70s, 80s, that's when they're looking to take some profit on the 1 week time frame. But remember, things can get very overextended in this space. And another thing I wanted to point out, we're up above the 20 moving average in red here, and this is our weekly moving average. We're up above the 50, the 100, and the 200. So we're up above all these moving averages, guys. And if we can keep this going, this truly could be the start of the next bull market if this continues to move in the direction we want it to keep moving. Let's just put it that way. So next I wanted to get into the technicals for us, and we're going to be looking at this on the 1 week technicals here. So on the 1 day, we have a 4 sell, 9 neutral, and a 15 buy. If we go out to the 1 week, you can see we have that strong buy, and that indicates all the things that I was showing you as well. 1 sell, 9 neutral, 18 buy. Oscillators, 1 sell, 8 neutral, 2 buy. Moving average is looking very strong. So in the longer term, we're looking pretty decent here, guys, if we can continue to hold this area, get a nice swell of volume to the upside. So that's going to be Bitcoin. If you get some from that, don't forget to like, subscribe, hit that notification bell. Next, we're going to be moving into Ethereum. And guys, what I do now for the comments, I basically just hold the comments because we were getting so much spam, and I don't want anybody to get tricked by spam or sending your coins to a bad address. So basically, I just hold all the comments now. So if you have a comment, put it down low. I'll review everything, and then I release them as we go. But we were getting spam so hard and aggressively that I just couldn't keep up, and I don't want anybody to deal with that. That's the worst part of this space is all the scamming, in my opinion. So we're going to move next to Ethereum. Same deal. This is all going to be on the weekly time frame. We have broken out of our purple downtrend here. We got a really nice push to the upside. The only thing I'm looking at with Ethereum here, this was a bearish engulfing candle on heavier volume. So for Ethereum, we're going to try our best to hold this 332. That was an area that I've been looking at for quite a long time. That was our previous resistance. We broke up through it. Now we want to hold that as support, and we have. For Ethereum, we're up above our 20, our 50, our 100, and our 200. And right now, our 50s trying to cross over top of our 200, which would be really good for us there if we could get that nice golden cross to the upside. But you can see the moving averages starting to cross. We want to have continued volume right now. Our RSI is at 63. Typically, when Ethereum pumps hard, we can get up. Guys, we've been on the weekly before, up around 98.66. That's what I'm saying. When you're really trading this stuff and we're getting these huge swells to the upside, focus on the price action and the candles even more than the indicators. You still want to look at them, but don't say, okay, because Ethereum's at 90, I'm going to sell out if the price action is still just cranking. What you want to do is use those trailing stop losses, and as it goes up, just follow that price. So if it does reverse on you, you lock in the profits. Remember, bulls make money, bears make money, pigs get slaughtered. But for us, we want to continue to hold 332. If we can hold 332, we got to get back up above $417 as overhead resistance, and it's going to be up around that 469. If we take a look in here on TradingView on the 1 week time frame, we're looking at a buy, a 1 sell, 10 neutral, and a 17 buy. Oscillators very neutral there. So really keep an eye on those areas. Let's see if we can continue to hold support on the moving averages, but that's looking good right now in the longer term. Next, we're going to move into Link. And if you're here for Link, let me know down low. Leave me a little comment there. Tell me what you're doing with Link. And guys, for Link, we've hit many of the targets that we were looking at here. You can see this 892. That was a main target that we were trying to hit. We wicked down to that. We needed to shake this out, and that's the importance of taking your profits. Whenever profits stare in your face, guys, please don't be afraid to take it. Weekly, we got up to 92 right there, and you can see massive selling volume on this previous day, and it was almost like a dark cloud cover candle there, and it was just showing us that we were going to potentially get that next push to the downside. So now if we can find support off the 20 EMA right now, that's going to be at $9.48 is going to be the area that I want to hold. We've had long wicks down to that area, and this is where we'd potentially want to start looking for that reversal where we can get that next move to the upside, but we're trying to set that higher low right now. RSI is at 55, still having some selling pressure right here, and we're getting pushed to the downside. So for me, I'm not in a Link position right now. I'd wait to see if it's still going to cool down a little bit more, maybe get back down to that 892. If it doesn't, that's okay. I'm looking at other opportunities. But for me, Link, guys, this is where we need to find that support at 948, then be down around that 892. If we take a look here for our technicals, you can see it's a little bit behind. For the 1 day, we have a 13 sell, 8 neutral, 7 buy. If we take a look at the 1 week, that's doing better. We have a 5 sell, 10 neutral, and a 9 buy. Oscillators, 0 sell, 9 neutral, 2 buy. Moving averages, 5 sell, 1 neutral, and a 7 buy for Link. But this is why you don't FOMO, guys, and really take your profits, because look what Link did. Typically, when you get these retracements, they're more than 50%. We were at $20. We went all the way back down to that $10. Look up here. We were at $4.97. We ended up going back down to $1.57. And what I like to do is once I take my profits, put bids down in one of these support areas or off moving averages, and that's how you'll catch some on a longer wick, and it's been very successful for me. So that's going to be Link, guys. Let me know if you want me to keep that in. We're going to move into Tezos next. Tezos is at 232, and this is a position that I have been in. Okay, I just started layering into Tezos, so I want you guys to be aware of that. You know, not financial advice, but it's what I like to do, because what I was looking at here is typically the retracements that we end up getting for Tezos. They've been 27%, 38%, 40 or 76%, 33%, and now what we've had is basically a 46% retracement to the downside. So in my opinion, Tezos is due to find a bottom here fairly soon and potentially get moving back to the upside. Previous high for Tezos was 456, and right now we're sitting at 232. And guys, like I told you, I have some buy areas at around 222 is going to be a buy area for me, and then it'd be down around that 180 is going to be my heaviest bids if we do work back to that area, because I feel like this is one when money comes into it, it runs really hard, fast, and aggressively, kind of like Link. You know, it can really lead the altcoin market when money gets pushed into it, and you can have these really fast, aggressive runs to the upside. Now, what we want to look at in candles, guys, in terms of the week, just to show you, just like how we had this bullish engulfing candle here, that's what set off this uptrend right here, and then our downtrend, we had a bearish engulfing candle on heavier volume, and that's what's pushed us to the downside. So these things can really help you if you pay attention to it. But my next support area is 222 and 180. That's where I'm going to have some buy areas at. If we do get moving off this area here, we're going to look up to around 269 as overhead resistance, and then it would be up around that 335 is going to be our overhead resistance. If we take a look at the technicals, we're going to go on to the 1 week time frame. Oscillators 1 sell, 8 neutral, 2 buy. Summary here, 11 sell, 9 neutral, 4 buy. And moving averages, we actually still have a strong sell for the moving averages, because you can see here we have the 20 EMA pressing down upon us, and that's at $2.80. So we are going to have to get back up through that. But this was one I wanted to be a part of, because typically when it does pump, it pumps hard, fast, and aggressively. And to show you an example of the price range, guys, of one of the moves, that was 235%, and this was back in December when we went from $1.17 all the way up to that $4. So that's the type of gains that can be made if you play this right and you average into these right and you really play the swings in this market. So that's going to be Tezos. Keep an eye on those areas, guys. Next, we're going to go to Digibyte. If you're here for Digibyte, let me know. Digibyte trying today to get a bullish engulfing candle here. If we could close today, that would be a really nice candle for us, and we want it to come on volume as well. If that happens, we potentially could start getting pushed up into some higher areas. Resistance would be at 0.02695 is going to be overhead resistance. Then it would be up around roughly that 0.03716 are going to be the overhead resistances. Same deal here. What we want to do is hold that 20 EMA as support, and that's going to be at 0.02189 is going to be the area. And you can see we're starting to get a little bit of roundness here on the RSI. We're at 56.70. Before, we have been as high recently up to about 81 on the RSI for Digibyte. So that's something that I always like to pay attention to and keep an eye on that RSI and see how overextended we can get. Remember, really watch the price action more than indicators. The only time I enter trades is through price action, then the indicators just confirm that for me. I don't ever look at one indicator and say, you know, I'm going all in here because an indicator says so. So for the summary, 5 sell, 10 neutral, 13 buy. Oscillators, 1 sell, 9 neutral, 1 buy. Moving averages, 4 sell, 1 neutral, and a 12 buy is what we're going to be looking at for Digibyte there. So really keep an eye on those areas. Set your alarms, set your support and resistance, and then we're going to get into Litecoin next. Litecoin's at 48.71 right now, still trying to fight to stay within this white trend line. We've had this drawn for quite a long time. If we can hold, and this is our higher low here, then what we would do is look to see if we can get back up through this 20 EMA, and that's going to be at $50.80. So that's going to be a key overhead resistance. Then it's going to be at that 53.84. Those are the next two areas that I'm going to be looking at for overhead resistance. In terms of support, if this white trend line doesn't hold, we're going to look down to about 41.24 would be the next area for Litecoin. But I wouldn't like that because we would have this trend line break. And right now we've been having some doji candles at the bottom here after a strong sell-off. So we're trying to find that bottom now. That's what's going to be important for us. And you can also see for Litecoin, we have some news. First true Litecoin game is an RPG Knights and Wizards Fest. So, you know, I'm not into that type of stuff, but I know a lot of people play that stuff, and, you know, this could be significant for Litecoin down the road. It's nice to see some actual use case with Litecoin. You know, that's what you want to see in coins, the actual adoption and the usage of the coin. Now, if we take a look at our technicals here, still a little behind. One day we have a 12 sell, 10 neutral, 6 buy. Oscillators, though, starting to turn to the buy. 0 sell, 9 neutral, and a 2 buy. Then if we get out to our 1 week, we're looking at a 14 sell, 10 neutral, 4 buy. Oscillator, 0 sell, 9 neutral, and a 2 buy. In terms of the RSI, we're at 47 right now, trying to gain a little bit of strength so we can push through these overhead resistances, but what it's going to take is some volume. So just be careful, guys, in these areas. It's a tough, sticky spot, but that's what I wanted to point out for you today. If you get some from this, don't forget to like, subscribe, hit that notification bell. God bless each and every one of you.